Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Intervlog, where we bring you the most important stories shaping our world today with a lens of neutrality, depth, and insight. Today we turn our focus to West Africa, to a story of visionary leadership, international cooperation, and a nation charting a path toward progress that resonates far beyond its borders. On this historic day, August 17th, 2025, Burkina Faso stands at the center of a remarkable development. A story that combines diplomacy, humanitarian commitment, and the unwavering pursuit of national development under the guidance of its president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. In the evening of Saturday, August 16th, 2025, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Cooperation, and Burkinabè Foreign Affairs, under the leadership of His Excellency Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré, presided over a ceremony marking a new chapter in Burkina Faso's partnership with the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or OIC. Two financial subsidy agreements were signed, totaling $144,000. These funds, provided through the Islamic Solidarity Fund, FSI, are earmarked for the implementation of projects to support education, health, and accommodation in sites for internally displaced persons in the Quilcé region near Kaya, as well as water drilling for the benefit of the same communities. This moment is not just a routine international cooperation announcement. It represents a tangible commitment to the priorities of Burkina Faso's government, a government led by President Captain Ibrahim Traoré, whose vision has been clear and consistent since taking office. Education, health, and infrastructure come before anything else. It is worth emphasizing that this development comes in the wake of a bold decision by President Traoré, one that has drawn both attention and admiration from around the world. Earlier this year, Saudi Arabia had offered to construct 200 mosques across Burkina Faso. While generous in appearance, this proposal was met with careful scrutiny by the Burkinabè leadership. President Traoré, after reviewing the country's existing infrastructure and the urgent needs of its people, politely but firmly declined the offer. His reasoning was simple yet profound. Burkina Faso already possesses a sufficient number of mosques, many of which remain underutilized. What the country urgently needs are schools, hospitals, housing, and initiatives that create jobs, strengthen self-reliance, and uplift communities in a tangible, sustainable manner. This decision represents more than policy. It embodies a philosophy, one that places education and human development above religious edifices, however grand they may be. In making this choice, President Traoré demonstrated an understanding that nations thrive when knowledge, skills, and opportunities are cultivated first, and when religious devotion complements rather than supplants the pursuit of progress. The OIC, through its Islamic Solidarity Fund, has demonstrated an admirable flexibility and willingness to cooperate in this vision. Represented by Executive Director Mr. Mohammed bin Suleiman Abba al-Khail, the organization reaffirmed its commitment to support Burkina Faso's considerable humanitarian efforts. "We will organize to get the necessary support for Burkina Faso," said Mr. Al-Khail, emphasizing the solidarity that binds nations through common goals. The OIC's adaptation to Burkina Faso's priorities underscores a broader truth. International cooperation is most effective when it aligns with the actual needs of communities rather than preconceptions of what should be built. Let us pause to reflect on why this decision, both by President Traoré and the OIC, carries such profound significance. Across Africa, resources are often allocated in ways that reflect tradition, expectation, or symbolic gestures, rather than the pressing necessities of citizens. Too often, projects are chosen because they are visible or culturally prestigious, not because they serve the population in the most meaningful way. By choosing education and health over religious structures, Burkina Faso is sending a powerful message. Progress is measured not in the number of monuments or places of worship, but in the opportunities provided to young minds, the lives saved through proper health care, and the dignity restored to vulnerable populations. Consider, for example, the impact of investing in schools. Education is the foundation of national development. It is through schools that literacy spreads, that critical thinking is cultivated, and that future leaders, engineers, doctors, and entrepreneurs emerge. Every classroom built is a step towards self-reliance. Every book placed on a desk is a seed of knowledge planted in fertile soil, and every trained teacher is a torchbearer for a brighter future. In Burkina Faso, where challenges of displacement, security, and economic development are ever present, education is not a luxury. It is a lifeline. By contrast, constructing additional mosques, while spiritually significant, does not directly address these urgent material needs. Mosques, as sacred spaces, serve important functions in the spiritual and social lives of communities. Yet, when a country already has hundreds of them, with many underutilized, new constructions risk becoming symbolic rather than functional. They do not feed the hungry, they do not provide shelter for the displaced, and they do not equip the youth with skills to navigate a complex and competitive global economy. Here, Intervlog would like to share a short parable. A man who plants books in the minds of children will reap engineers, doctors, and leaders tomorrow. But a man who builds walls without knowledge may reap silence instead of progress. This parable captures the essence of Burkina Faso's decision. Knowledge grows exponentially. Faith alone, while powerful, cannot feed a nation or build its future. When knowledge and faith are balanced, the result is a society capable of both spiritual and material advancement. President Traoré's decision also reflects his broader vision for infrastructure and governance. Since assuming office, he has implemented key reforms to enhance project management, ensuring that public construction adheres to strict technical, environmental, and safety standards. This commitment ensures that schools, hospitals, and housing projects are not only built, but built to last, providing sustainable benefits to communities for decades to come. Moreover, this approach extends to the plight of internally displaced persons, PDIS, in Burkina Faso. The recent agreements with the OIC include projects to construct accommodations and provide water access in the Kilsé region, a region that has witnessed significant displacement due to security challenges. By addressing the immediate needs of vulnerable populations while simultaneously investing in their long-term development through education and health, Burkina Faso is demonstrating a holistic model of governance, one that combines compassion with strategic foresight. Another parable comes to mind here. When a farmer waters the tree of knowledge, the whole village finds shade. When he waters only one leaf of faith, the rest of the tree may dry up. This saying underscores the principle that balanced development, spiritual, educational, and material, is essential for sustainable national growth. Burkina Faso, under Traoré, is watering the entire tree, not merely one leaf. The advantages of prioritizing schools over mosques are many and multifaceted. Firstly, schools are engines of economic development. A well-educated population attracts investment, encourages entrepreneurship, and provides a workforce capable of operating in advanced industries. Secondly, schools foster social cohesion. Children who learn together, regardless of their religious backgrounds, develop empathy, critical thinking, and a sense of shared purpose. Thirdly, education is inherently democratic. Every child has the right to learn, regardless of their social or economic status, and every citizen benefits from a literate, knowledgeable society. In addition, investing in education strengthens national security indirectly. Societies with educated populations are more resilient, more capable of self-governance, and better equipped to resist manipulation or extremism. By building schools rather than additional mosques, President Traoré is not rejecting faith. He is reinforcing the conditions under which faith can flourish in a stable, educated, and prosperous society. It is also important to recognize the role of the OIC in this transformation, by channeling resources into education, health, and water projects. The OIC demonstrates that religious solidarity can, and indeed should, support development in tangible ways. This alignment of spiritual values with material needs exemplifies a new paradigm in international cooperation, one where faith-based organizations partner with governments to achieve measurable, sustainable improvements in citizens' lives. Another parable resonates here. A well is dug where people thirst, not where water is already plentiful. Wisdom is built where minds hunger, not where knowledge overflows. In choosing to invest in schools and hospitals, the OIC is helping Burkina Faso dig wells of opportunity where they are most needed, ensuring that resources yield the maximum benefit for the people. The story of Burkina Faso's leadership and the OIC's cooperation is not merely a national story. It is a global lesson. Around the world, leaders are often tempted by gestures of prestige, by projects that shine in photographs but do little for the populace. President Traoré's steadfast refusal to prioritize mosque construction in favor of education and health challenges this paradigm. He demonstrates that true leadership requires courage, foresight, and a willingness to prioritize substance over symbolism. In conclusion, the events of August 17, 2025 mark more than just a financial agreement or a diplomatic ceremony. They signify a commitment to human development, national resilience, and strategic vision. They highlight a president willing to make difficult decisions for the long-term benefit of his people. They showcase an international organization, the OIC, willing to listen, adapt, and invest in what truly matters. As Intervlog continues to report on this story, we invite viewers to reflect on the implications of Burkina Faso's approach. Education and health are not merely sectors to be funded. They are the foundations upon which nations are built. Faith is vital, but it thrives best when supported by literacy, opportunity, and shared prosperity. Under President Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso is planting the seeds of a future where knowledge, compassion, and unity take precedence, ensuring that every child has the chance to grow, learn, and contribute meaningfully to the nation and the world. The man who teaches a child to read feeds a nation. The man who builds walls without doors confines it. This final parable for Part 1 reminds us that Burkina Faso's path is not only pragmatic, but profoundly wise, offering a blueprint for other nations to follow. As we continue our coverage of Burkina Faso's landmark decision on August 17, 2025, it becomes imperative to explore the broader implications of President Ibrahim Traoré's visionary approach, the deliberate prioritization of education and health, and the lessons that this policy offers to the wider world. While mosques are vital centers of faith and community cohesion, the decision to halt the construction of 200 additional mosques and instead invest in schools, hospitals, and water facilities reflects a pragmatic understanding of national needs. Burkina Faso, like many countries in Africa, already possesses a significant number of mosques, some of which remain underutilized. Constructing new religious edifices in such a context risks oversaturation and misallocation of critical resources. Disadvantages of building mosques over schools. Firstly, when resources are allocated to the construction of mosques at the expense of educational institutions, immediate and long-term development goals are compromised. Schools are the incubators of talent, the arenas where literacy, numeracy, and critical thinking skills are imparted. Every classroom, every teacher trained, and every child given access to quality education represents a direct investment in the country's future workforce. Mosques, while socially and spiritually significant, do not produce engineers, doctors, teachers, or entrepreneurs. A short parable illustrates this principle. A man can build 1,000 walls for prayers, yet a single school will build 1,000 futures. It is in this context that President Traoré's decision must be celebrated. By redirecting funds toward human capital, Burkina Faso positions itself to reap economic, social, and political dividends for decades to come. Secondly, overbuilding mosques risks creating a sense of redundancy and underuse, leading to wasted resources. In areas where mosques are already abundant, additional structures may remain empty, contributing little to community life. By contrast, the construction of schools and hospitals addresses pressing, measurable needs, ensuring that resources are efficiently utilized for maximum societal benefit. Thirdly, an overemphasis on religious infrastructure without balancing social investments can exacerbate religious polarization. Across the African continent and indeed globally, over-prioritization of religious monuments has sometimes intensified sectarian divides, creating competition for spiritual supremacy rather than fostering unity. Education, conversely, serves as a unifying force. It is a sector that transcends religious and ethnic lines, offering every child an equal opportunity to learn, grow, and contribute meaningfully to society. Another parable underscores this lesson. If a village plants 10 trees of faith but neglects the well of knowledge, the leaves may flourish while the roots wither. Knowledge, rooted in schools, provides the foundation upon which faith and social cohesion can thrive sustainably. Why every nation should embrace education. First, globally, the evidence is clear. Nations that prioritize education reap long-term benefits across multiple sectors. Countries such as Japan, South Korea, and Rwanda demonstrate that literacy, technical training, and critical thinking empower populations to innovate, industrialize, and respond effectively to global challenges. Education is not merely an individual right, it is a national imperative. Burkina Faso's emphasis on schooling over religious structures illustrates a profound understanding of this truth. By ensuring that every child has access to quality education, the government is equipping future generations with the tools to navigate an increasingly complex world. Schools serve as platforms for knowledge, skill development, and civic awareness. They are the arenas where critical thinking is fostered, problem-solving abilities are cultivated, and social mobility is enabled. A parable fitting this vision states, "Teach a child to read, and you feed a mind for a lifetime. Teach only devotion without knowledge, and the mind remains hungry." This succinctly captures why education must take precedence in national planning. Without schools, communities risk producing generations that are spiritually nourished, but materially and intellectually unprepared for the demands of the modern world. Religion and its role in Africa. While faith remains an integral component of African identity, it has also been, at times, a source of division. Religious conflicts, often exacerbated by poverty, limited access to education, and competition for scarce resources, have led to instability in numerous countries. Nigeria, Sudan, the Central African Republic, and other nations have faced challenges where sectarian differences intersected with political, economic, or social tensions. In this context, Burkina Faso's approach offers a valuable lesson. By focusing first on education, healthcare, and unity, and only subsequently on religious matters that are already adequately addressed, the nation is prioritizing social cohesion and human development. This approach neither diminishes the role of faith nor disrespects religious traditions. It simply acknowledges that education and health create the conditions in which faith can flourish constructively. A parable illustrates this principle. A river nourishes all fields. If it flows only to one garden, the rest will wither. Knowledge flows first, and faith blooms along its banks. Burkina Faso, under President Traoré, is ensuring that the river of knowledge reaches all corners of society, enabling faith to flourish without becoming a source of division. Message to other presidents and leaders around the world. Burkina Faso's experience provides a blueprint for leaders globally. In prioritizing education and social infrastructure over the construction of additional religious edifices, President Traoré demonstrates a leadership philosophy that is both courageous and visionary. Other African leaders, and indeed leaders across the globe, would do well to observe this example. Investing in human capital, prioritizing schools and hospitals, and addressing the fundamental needs of citizens before allocating resources to symbolic constructions can yield tangible, long-lasting results. A parable to guide global leaders. The king who fills the minds of his people with wisdom rules longer than the king who builds palaces for himself. Leadership is measured not by the grandeur of monuments, but by the well-being, knowledge, and prosperity of the people. Praise for President Traoré and the OIC. We must take a moment to recognize the significance of this partnership. President Traoré's insistence on redirecting investments toward education and health demonstrates strategic foresight, compassion, and courage. It reflects a leader who understands the power of knowledge, the urgency of human development, and the potential of his people. Equally commendable is the flexibility and responsiveness of the OIC. By supporting projects that align with Burkina Faso's priorities, the organization exemplifies what faith-based international cooperation can achieve when it listens, adapts, and invests in tangible human development. Together, Burkina Faso and the OIC are charting a path for other nations to emulate, one where religion and faith coexist with progress, education, and unity, rather than competing against them. Another parable emphasizes this. Two travelers set out together. One carries gold, the other knowledge. Gold feeds hunger briefly, but knowledge feeds generations. Together, they can build a nation. In this scenario, Burkina Faso and the OIC have chosen to carry both resources wisely, investing gold and faith into knowledge, health, and opportunity. Neutral, documentary-style closing. As Intervlog continues to report on Burkina Faso's initiatives, it becomes clear that this is not merely a story of diplomacy or development funding. It is a story of visionary governance, international solidarity, and pragmatic decision-making. It is a story that reminds us that progress requires prioritization, courage, and an unwavering focus on human development. Education, health, and unity are the pillars upon which sustainable nations are built. Religion, while deeply respected and integral to African identity, must complement rather than dominate the allocation of scarce resources. Burkina Faso's leadership under President Traoré demonstrates that when nations place knowledge, opportunity, and cohesion above symbolic gestures, the results can be transformative. A final parable to conclude. The tree of a nation grows tall when its roots are nourished by knowledge. Flowers of faith blossom more brightly when watered by understanding and unity. Burkina Faso is watering its roots, ensuring that future generations will grow strong, resilient, and enlightened. Through its decisive leadership and the supportive partnership of the OIC, Burkina Faso is showing the world that investing in education and human development is the true measure of progress. It is a model that other nations would do well to study, adapt, and follow. Intervlog will continue to bring you these stories, highlighting the vision, courage, and impact of leaders like President Ibrahim Traoré and the organizations that align their support with the genuine needs of the people. In summary, Burkina Faso's rejection of 200 new mosques in favor of schools, hospitals, and water projects represents a new paradigm of national development. It is an approach rooted in pragmatism, wisdom, and empathy. It is a story of courage, not only for President Traoré, but also for the OIC, which chose to align its support with the true priorities of the Burkinabè people. It is a story that sends a clear message to other leaders. Education, unity, and human development must come first. Religion can flourish best when it is nurtured by an informed and empowered population. This concludes our detailed coverage of Burkina Faso's transformative decision. The lessons here are clear, the implications far-reaching, and the model inspiring. For Intervlog, reporting with the depth, neutrality, and insight our viewers expect, This story is a reminder that the path to sustainable national development is paved with courage, vision, and the unwavering prioritization of human opportunity. This is the end of our program today. See you on Intervlog, same time, tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you for watching Intervlog. Thank you.